I'm super excited to have this time with you, Tracy, because it's not often that you and I ever really get to chat and to get to know one another because we're in different parts of the state. But I know we communicate a lot in other ways, and I always appreciate your help tremendously with everything internal, marketing wise, and keeping me abreast of all the things that are happening that are important to the company. Congratulations then on your November Associate Spotlight.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and then what you do for Adafio? How long have you worked here and just some details about that?
It's actually been 9 years this month. It was the week of Thanksgiving, 9 years ago. I don't remember the exact date. Just had a number of responsibilities since I started. When I first started, I think there were only 22 or 23 of us at that time, so still fairly
Very
small.
small.
Yeah. And so it was just Jana and I handling all of the office tasks
Uh,
that needed to be done.
Talk about seeing it from the very beginning, at its humble beginnings and to see where it is now. Did you ever anticipate this happening? I
No,
mean, yeah.
not this much. No.
Yeah, I feel like they've done a great job in terms of really keeping the associate centric focused, where the associates feel recognized and what you guys provide with especially I feel with the surveys that you send out. I just think those are so vitally important, even if people don't necessarily contribute or participate. I just think that we just have to keep doing them, where it just becomes the natural state.
And I think that's proven. I mean, there have been so many changes over the last year due to the answers on the surveys.
Hmm.
Flexible PTO, the
401k, the health insurance, paternity
exactly.
leave. I mean, and if you, it's and until you ask for it, do we know that it even needs to be addressed? And so
Exactly.
it's almost like voting, you've got to get out there and do it in order for you to see the change that you can make happen.
Yeah,
So it's
communication.
accountability.
Yeah,
Hmm.
communication is really vital. And the bigger we get, the more important I feel it's going to become. So
Yeah, I agree.
if anybody sees any issues, they need to speak up on these surveys and
Hmm.
let us know.
So what are some of the positions that you've held with Adafia over the course of the almost decade that you've worked here?
It was just Janet and I. So, I mean, it was everything from checking in equipment, loading it into the system, billing the client for the hardware, cloud billing,
Yeah. You name it, it was assigned.
attendance.
Anything
Yeah.
that, yeah. It was a one team sort of environment, right? Where
Exactly.
everybody contributed where they knew that they could be of service.
Yeah, I mean, with that few of associates, you had to. And I mean, it was
Yeah.
multiple hats, and you just jumped in whenever.
And what do you do now? What's your role now?
Primarily just as Kenny's assistant, help him with whatever he needs. And then I also trying to help out with the social events and promote that and community involvement,
Mhm.
trying to get that all going.
And some of the things that we've started with your help and spearheading is like Habitat for Humanity, right? That's one. Oh, and the other thing that we do is the volunteer days, right? So people can go out and participate in some initiative that helps the greater good of the community. Is that and that's something you're helping with?
Correct. And Kenny and I are we've got a couple of things we're tossing around right now. So everybody will probably be hearing from us soon on some new opportunities there. So stay tuned on that one.
Okay, well, I will be ready to help and pitch in where I can, especially in the
Awesome.
Northwest Arkansas area.
Love it. You're always there to help us.
So, what do you like most about your job?
Just I get to work with so many different people, and
Yeah.
I think that that's just fabulous. I get to work with all the associates. I get to work with clients on occasion. I just get to work with so many different folks, and I find that to be incredibly inspiring. I actually really love that.
Yeah. And I think that, you're able to also not just help, help in the ways that you do through helping Kenny and helping with the community and social events and the culture of the company, but also just the fact that you've been here for so long that you kind of have a compass of where we've been and where we're going, and you can see like if there's any sort of area that might need tended to help it keep rolling, health in a healthy way and thriving. I think that's important since you've been here since the very beginning to maintain that sense of culture and essentially the values that we really maintain
I
and
hope
strive to
so.
maintain.
I hope so. I probably drive everybody crazy with all my communications, but like I said earlier, I think communication is essential through all the growth and changes that we've been going through and will continue to go through.
It's fine because I like to call it polite persistence, or that and as we've heard in the past, that a leader is a repeater. Like we have to continue to keep pressing and repeating on these same things, even if they didn't hear it the first time. I promise by the 10th, usually you start to see some things taking place and shift happening. And I think as a mother, we find that that's kind of the way it is in motherhood, as a parent. And I'm not saying just, and fathers too, I don't mean to eliminate the men, but there is that sense that you just constantly have to be on them,
Yeah.
but we can do it in a way that's not pesky. It's just part of it, do it and we won't have to repeat ourselves as often.
I just feel I get paid to be a nag some days. So, if you want to put it that way,
Yeah.
I just nag everybody.
What is the best career lesson that you've learned?
Gosh, never stop learning. I started off in more like accounting, number oriented, and I've kind of evolved my positions just because of being asked to take on additional tasks and stuff. So I learn from that, and I've done. Even like the social events and community
Yeah.
involvement. I went on PTO, came back, and I have been assigned to that rock. So I just have kind of tried to learn and figure it out from there. That's not something I'd ever really done before. So I'm just kind of learning my way through it all.
Yeah, with grace and knowing that there's room for error, but in order to keep growing, we have to keep learning
Exactly.
and especially with all the roles that you've been in, it's kind of like you're just like, well, this is just another part of the journey in Adafio. The evolution of Adafio continues to see new places and things.
Exactly.
Crystal knows, and we've implemented that, which I find to be just frighteningly accurate and more accurate than I think I've done most other personality tests. I do like them because they kind of help give me sort of a guidepost. So I find it to be just immensely helpful. And what do you think about yours?
I thought it was fairly accurate. I don't remember all of it.
You're a
Reliable
stabilizer.
and conscientious, and I feel I'm very reliable, and I am very conscientious on things, and maybe to an OCD level sometimes, but I do feel it was fairly accurate in mine.
You do come across with a very even keel where that does play a big part in the room, the energy of the room. So if you're calm, then it definitely changes where everybody else also feels that. So that's a huge, good. I think that's a great quality to have. I don't know what you're feeling on the inside, but on the outside, you look like you're just everything's good. We're going to be fine.
I think that a lot of that has probably just come with age. Not worth
Yeah.
getting worked up and stuff.
So yesterday I was driving back from Oklahoma, and I've never run out of gas, knock on wood, but I don't know how close I was to running out of gas, where the light was on to fill your tank. And you know how you've got the lights or the little gauge that lets you know, like you have 1 bar or 2 bars, and
Yes.
there were no bars. It
Oh,
was
no.
that. And I didn't anticipate going for so long in Oklahoma without there being a gas station, because even though you're on the turnpike and stuff, I thought, oh, there'll be one around the corner. Not so. And I was with my friend, and she was like, there's no need to worry twice. Just drive slower, just take deep breaths, and whatever happens will happen, and we'll handle it. And it was just such a great reminder that why am I getting all anxious and stressed out about something that at this point, whatever happens, we'll have to figure it out, you know. And we did get to the gas station, and I was fine, and everything worked out. But, you know, obviously plan in advance, maybe a little better. But that was a nervous moment where she helped me kind of realize, yeah, just stay calm. It's
Yeah,
nothing you can do about it. It's like worrying that's for something to happen that you don't want to happen by putting it
exactly.
in your head. What do you do when you're not working? So like I went to a yoga retreat. That's not something I often do, but it was a little special occasion. But what do you like to do?
I'm kind of boring. I just like to hang out the house. I do stuff in the house, and then we've got a couple of acres of property, so we're always doing something out outside too around here.
Yeah, do you have a garden or
We
animals?
don't.
Okay.
Well, we do have we have three dogs, but we actually it's kind of cool. If you walk out our back door, we have a fenced backyard, but we've got some wooded area behind us. So if you go out at night, probably about 50 feet or so right outside our back door, you'll see all these little glowing eyes at us. They're
Yes.
like a little pack of deer that just hang
Oh,
out there
wow.
every night. So,
So yeah, you have an abundant different types of pets, not
yes,
just
yeah.
dogs.
We saw a coyote a couple of weeks ago. We've got the deer. You'll see we have armadillos been tearing up our planter beds. So yeah, we've got all kinds of little creatures.
What's your favorite place in the world?
Several years ago, went to Colorado for the first time. We did whitewater rafting, hiking, all of that, and that was just phenomenal. And then this year we went back and attempted skiing. Never again. For me, my feet, my body on two
Yeah.
sticks just does not, no,
Yeah.
that does not work. So I will go back to Colorado again any day, but I
Stay off
will
the
have to
skis.
live there. Yeah, but yeah, I will never be on skis again.
I say that, yeah, the older we get, the more difficult it is, and the falling is definitely not as fun, you know, that not at all. I will suggest that at any age, if you can, do some inner tubing.
I did.
The sledding. Did you do
Yes,
that? Or
we
inner
did
tube
that.
on the river or inner tube down a mountain? I find that one of the most exhilarating. I feel childlike, like I'm just becoming a kid again.
Yes, it was
So you
so
got
much
to do
fun.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did that on this last trip down the snow, and some friends that we went with, their youngest daughter pulled me out there, and her and I went sledding. So it was so much
Yeah.
fun.
That's fun. And we don't get to do that very often. And we don't have a lot of hills like they do. I mean, obviously you've got to climb back up, which is a bit of a haul,
Yes.
but there's still just so much fun in that. I can still remember the last time I did it. And I hope that I can go back. My family lives there. That's where I was born. I lived there for many years, and I try to go back as often as I can, but definitely a part of my spirit and soul is there. And the sunshine is the best in the world. It's like therapy. That's what
Agreed.
I feel. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Do you plan to go back this year? Do you guys like try to make it a regular trip, or are you going to try somewhere else?
I think Jackson Hole is next on our list.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I lived in Wyoming too
Oh, wow.
for
You went
3 years.
all.
Yeah. And then my mom got a job at the U of A, and that's what brought us to Arkansas. And it was such a culture shock. Just everything about it was a completely different environment. The terrain, the weather, you know, the humidity, the accent, the food, everything was like, what? But we love it. So
It's
what
really
is
cool you've gotten to experience so many different places, though.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I miss it, and maybe one day when I retire, but the cost of living there is just so high that I'm gonna have to go like move in with my aunt or something. She's just gonna have to let me just live with her, and we'll just cohabitate.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. So tell me, do you have a mantra that you live by?
I guess the one that just learned over time and stuff is just never judge others. I mean, you just never know
Yeah.
what someone else is going through. And you can say first time, second time. But, I mean, the reality is you may know someone fairly well and still not really know what's going on with them. So
Yeah.
it's just don't judge.
I love that. Yeah, we can all take a moment and pause and realize when we start that thought and comparison, and or just, I feel like that's kind of where judging comes from. It's like, well, they're not living what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And I listened to a podcast the other day, and she said to compare is to despair.
like that. Yeah.
So anytime you find yourself like looking at somebody or doing that, they're not doing it your way, or you wish that maybe you could be more like that, it's like, well, stop and realize that, I mean, their situation's completely different, and we have to just try to take a break and take a step back. So I'm constantly aware of that, trying to always stay. It's like grace. I guess that's my favorite word, is just show more grace whenever you can, because you just don't know. Especially these days, feels like everybody's a little bit more reactive. So any way we can kind of take a step back is certainly valuable.
So true.
What is one thing you can't live without? I didn't record that part. Yeah. When was the first time you ever tried it?
They came out with the zero right about the time COVID hit.
Really?
So, yeah.
So it's not been around that long.
Mm-mm. No, I
And
was just regular Dr. Pepper until then, and I was just trying to cut out calories and stuff. And then they came out with the Dr. Pepper Zero. I was like, well, probably gonna taste like crap, but I'll
yeah,
give it a try. And yeah, I haven't gone
it
back
doesn't
since.
taste it. You don't find a difference in the taste.
I don't know.
And you were able to cut calories. Did you notice a difference in your overall like health and body in terms of like reducing the caloric intake?
Well, I don't know if it's just because of that, but my husband and I have started pretty
Yeah,
steady workout program too. So combined, I've
combined.
yeah noticed a difference.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we all have our certain habits and things that we love. And I do love wine. I don't know if there's any wine zero yet on the market. When that comes, maybe I'll find that'll be that thing that I can't live without. But, so the last question. Oh wait, I have two more questions.
Okay.
Who or what made you smile at work today or any day?
I haven't really had a chance to talk to him today, but it's Kenny. When I talk to him, he cracks me up every time. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody really knows how hilarious he is, but
And probably not even intentionally trying to be funny. Maybe at times, it's just like his personality. It's like you can't help but find him, just a great, happy, optimistic guy that yeah. That's a great answer. Well, I can't wait for you to have for you to be able to laugh at whatever he does today. We have to give me an example. Do you have an example maybe that you could share for everybody? Putting you on the spot there, but
not really an example. I mean, he's very self-deprecating. I mean,
yeah,
he's always making fun of himself and stuff. And
that's a very endearing quality, I think, when done right, where you're not like searching for a compliment. You literally are being as authentic about your self-deprecation as you can be.
yes,
That would be describing Kenny. Yeah.
yes, to a T.
So the last question I have is, everybody at Adafio has a story of what brought them here. You came 9 years ago when there were about 22 employees. It was you and Janice, the two women of the company. Tell me a little bit more about what brought you to Adafio. What did you do beforehand, and anything else you want to add?
My husband and I worked together previously. That's actually how we met. And
Okay.
the company we worked for had been purchased and acquired by another company. So when that happened, Neil called up my husband and they brought him over to Adolfo. And I stayed on with that company for a little bit to help finish out everything. And then I took several months off. And right when I was getting ready to start looking and stuff, he texted me one day. He's like, "Well, do you want to come work here?" I don't know if they're going to want a husband and wife working there. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, just
They
give it
need
a
your,
shot."
they need your skill sets.
Yeah, just, apply and see. And I interviewed with Keith and Janet, and I was hired, and the rest is history.
So with Keith and Jana,
Mm-hmm.
I love how everybody that comes to Adolfo has a different hiring team. It's great.
Yep.
Like everybody gets a chance to be in the room, not really, but of quite a bit, but that's great. And what were they hiring you for at the time? Just support and just
Exactly. Yeah, just quotes and orders and just help with the billing, paying invoices, getting those entered in the system, just
So that's, yeah, because when I forgot to ask you, but as a career choice, if you weren't doing this, you mentioned that you would like to do stuff with numbers. So you're somebody who has a knack for financials and numbers and
I don't know
mean,
if I have a knack for it, but I really love numbers.
yeah.
I do. So I think that's something in that realm, yes.
Is that what you did prior to Adolfo as well? Did you work with numbers and?
Several positions in the past, yes.
Mhm.
And I was a HIPAA coordinator. I was a purchasing, helped in purchasing, just multiple.
Yeah.
With the same company, wasn't ever a job hopper. I've only had like 4 jobs.
Yeah.
My entire life. But my last one, I was there for 16 years when they were acquired. So.
Oh, so you worked for a company that was acquired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new thing for me, working for Adolfo, but so far everything feels okay.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen several situations, and I think this has been the best case scenario that we could hope for.
I feel like that's the case. Yeah, I believe I trust the leadership and what they're doing and knowing that it's in the best interest of the staff and our clients. So we'll just keep moving forward and keep putting our core values at the forefront and keep being persistent and remind and keep those surveys going. And we'll continue to see, I think, some positive growth and a good culture. So, well, that's all I have. Did you have anything you want to add?
I don't.
You don't.
I'm very uncomfortable with these things.
I know you did it though, Tracy. We did it. I'm so excited. I'm so glad to have done it. And I hope that this sets your day off to a good start. And I hope you have a great rest of your Monday and week. All right. Well, that's all I have. So happy November Associate Spotlight. And I will be in touch. I know, probably even today.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye.